Mr. Zuckerberg, I'm very confident through this combination of strategies that I can talk about in this presentation, a presentation I can give to you in an hour. I can help you grow Facebook to for sure, a multiple $1 trillion, $2 trillion valuation I'm willing to guarantee. But I think it could actually be much more than that by 2050. But maybe by 2040 you could be at $2 trillion. And I don't think there's a faster way to grow Facebook than through this strategy. It's going to double. I know your annual revenues are about 150 billion right now. I think that's going to pull that figure realistically closer to this combination of strategies. Will pull that figure closer to 500 billion a year, $500 billion a year. I really do believe you'll be at that, and then you'll have a trillion, maybe multiple $1 trillion valuation. And I think that's going to be very achievable within about 10 years, 10, 20 years. And so a $2, maybe $3 trillion valuation achievable by 2030, or I'm sorry, by 2040, maybe 2050 at the latest. I do believe a $3 trillion valuation, potentially $5 trillion valuation. That's getting a little high. But $3 trillion valuation by 2050 is the goal. And you achieve that by trying to work with the government to streamline their processes, to streamline how we explore different bids. This doubles for the entirety of the investment market. And there's a way to think about a complex set of strategies operationally to come together to build this specific product. And it's going to be an extension of our government identity with concept mapping engines and ways of exploring 3D relational webs. And there are all kinds of ways I can talk about how I would build that technology. Some key slides here on that. But the point is that if you build this technology and you launch in a way where you have a major market vertical and I have some other major market verticals that I think society will want to organize into, and this is your strategy, understanding how libraries come together, being a software company, you can understand that there's a way to build a very, very strong cyber force with a hybridly managed repository between companies. And you want to have these major market vertical layers such that you can feather together these libraries. Now that's going to be part of what's necessary for Cyberforce, and you as a software company have enough knowledge and familiarity with software to talk about these libraries, different objects, different scripts, passing different things between them, and having security keys as part of that, and key teams that manage repositories that remain invisible. Only one identity has access to this set of code, and they update these algorithms that update these security keys. And that all there are ways that factors into a priority partition architecture, but the bigger thing, Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook, is that if you're talking about architecture evolving at scale between numerous companies and devices that all exist together as part of a network, we need to do something to guarantee the security of a device and move to an identity access-based architecture anyway. A lot of people are talking about that, and I'm saying if you operate through a continuous improvement model, there's a way to manage these verticals through a unique business model. Facebook would be one of the companies that operates with one of these business models. That's why I call it strategic pivot right here, and Facebook would be affected by this layer. But you're working to build this very specific product for the marketplace with these skills map explorations, and you're seeing posts based upon a learning. You're trying to link learning content to posts. And there are structures that I can talk about for that. Some of them are very simple. You link, there are people that are publishers that are writing articles on emerging technology. And if you create a market for teaching assistants through a strategy that looks at some of the things Mastery.com does with producing easy to follow videos, and International Association for Professional Writers and Editors has a gig economy strategy for helping writers to find articles, people that want articles written about things. And so you can imagine there are a lot of different ways that can work. The gig economy is just one part of it. But you can imagine there being this opportunity to streamline for educators the way you can produce some interactive learning content. And you can create tools for that. And that's part of what you look at in this second phase here. Part of what you're looking at is building this merged medium front-end user interface with the way that you explore the concept mapping. And exploring the bids is about exploring the concepts related to the bids. So if you can build a skills web that goes into architectures, or not necessarily all of architecture, but enough to know when somebody's strategy is different and where it differs, and if you're better off investing in one company versus another company. And so as a government, it's the same thing. You're looking at whether or not it's better to contract or regulate in one way versus another way. And so the same architecture is useful in all of these contexts. That's why it's phenomenally valuable. And if you go after the national debt, you will grow faster and you'll draw more people into wanting to understand how these technologies work, because it's part of how you're paying off the national debt. So you're going to get everybody dialed in on being a government of the people. And you will grow faster through that model than you can without that kind of a strategy. Furthermore, you'll be a part of the team. You'll get to market that you're a part of the team creating this massive economic wave, which is going to pay for the environmental transitions and give companies that want to be a part of that the opportunity to succeed. There will be more grant programs, more money on the table to help with the pivot. And so you can create this massive economic wave while opening up opportunity to be involved in government in a much more dynamic way. And it's all about building these skills webs and working with technologies like OpenGL or Vulkan, made by Kronos Software, or other Unity game engine or Unreal game engine, and you create these ways of exploring in the metaverse and through flattened screens, ways of exploring these concept webs, which fundamentally can go to patent alert systems, and that's why I talk about that here. You build these concept webs, you make it easy for educators, and create this economy for teaching assistants and associate professors to help you open up your government model, such that your pinch point is no longer your local or state government. Now it's, you can go to a university in your state, and they will have, just like they have news teams, they will have a linked content team that's helping to break apart content that relates to, businesses in their area, and it's helping because that's going to relate to the education programs they're trying to offer. And then they're going to be able to market that they're helping to make, because this is going to tie to hybrid learning systems, and it's going to make it easier to approach different learning content, because you can make this approachable layer. It's going to incentivize people to look deeper into the education. They're going to look at their concept mapping and where their skills tree relates. They're always going to be able to bring a bid in focus to where their skills tree relates once this gets built the right way, because you'll be able to click on a post and it'll pop up this skills navigation web, and you'll be able to see, relevant to this post that you've clicked on or opened, here's where you're at, here's what they're talking about, here's what's between where they're talking about, what they're talking about, and where you're at. Similarly, as you're exploring a pitch, you can sort comments based upon who's following along and who's done more work with the background concepts or the very focused general overview pitches. And so you've broken this apart and you've made a system to make everything easier to follow along with. So as we pursue more and more complex bids, we've got a system for exploring that. This is what you can do, Mr. Zuckerberg and Facebook, to seriously be a part of the team that creates this massive economic wave, pays off the national debt, helps with all the environmental transitions, and it positions our government to evolve into the maximum extent you can possibly be involved. No matter what idea you have, you go network with a university, they'll help you network with a publisher. Some teaching assistant or learning associate will ultimately get paid by the publisher probably for helping to create an article, so they want to help you succeed and help this article get written, help clarify the process, because they might make $200 off of that through this International Association of Professional Writers and Editors way you can expand this linked content system for these publishers and these individuals who might want to produce this learning content. Though I think having it generally set up that you only want to offer those jobs to teaching assistants and associate professors helps to create the stronger business model. Thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg, if you've listened to this long. Thank you, Facebook. I'm very confident this is one of the most interesting growth models you could possibly explore, and there's a very complex business plan, somewhat complex business plan, that will help you grow faster if you understand it. And that's what strategic pivot is. And you'll be able to be a part of all these magic, legendary things forever, in addition to growing and profiting for your company and your shareholders. Thanks for watching.